Hello, ladies and gents. Welcome back to my Australian Open preview video. Finally, this year's first Grand Slam starts down under in Australia on Monday, and I hope that everybody will see great tennis from the professionals of the ATP Tour. I'm very excited of this tournament, like many other tennis fans around the world, and we have been waiting for this tournament since the ATP Night of Finals, which was the latest biggest tournament for the single players. We saw AT Cup earlier in this year, 2 weeks ago, where Serbia won. We saw a Novak Djokovic that put out a hell of a performance and sent message to everybody that I'm the man to beat in Australian Open. He will be the huge favorite here. He will try to claim his eighth Grand Slam here in Australia, which is a extended record for his sake. And really this year it's going to be interesting because everybody is talking about the next gen player, the new player that has taken a small step forward. Is this the year that we are finally going to see the big three dethrone, or is this the year that some of the other guys can grab a Grand Slam from the big three? Because the big three has won all the Grand Slams in the latest 3 calendar years. Stan Wawrinka was the latest one who won in US Open 2016, where he beat Novak Djokovic, and it's the golden generation with Rafael Nadal, Roger Federer, Djokovic against the new generation that are getting old now, with players like Cilic, Wawrinka, Dimitrov, Thiem. We can put him in that category. And the next gen players, the new upcoming stars like Medvedev, Tsitsipas, maybe a couple of more that I haven't mentioned. Is this the year that finally it's gonna happen? Because we all know, when it comes to Grand Slam, the big three are always prepared and comes in great shape to the big scenes. So this will not be another how do you say? It won't change anything. It won't make any difference from the past. The big three will come prepared, and are they gonna be beaten this time? Because if that's gonna happen, which in my case I think that it can happen, but not in this tournament. The fire needs some wind, and the wind had to spread this fire around and send out signals to everybody else that these big three can be beaten. They can be overcome, because of the active players today, beside the big three, in this tournament, it's only Stan Wawrinka and Marin Cilic that has won a Grand Slam. We have Kevin Anderson, who was in 2 Grand Slam finals. We have Medvedev, we have Thiem, we have Raonic, who has been in a final. We have Tsonga, who has been in a final, and Wawrinka, of course, a 3-time Grand Slam champion. But I'm not counting any of those players to win this tournament, because they are not trustworthy. They don't have the level, and they are not consistent enough. Some of them are getting old and injured. So players like Cilic, Wawrinka, Dimitrov, Zverev, you can name it, Fonini, Monfils, they are not Grand Slam contenders in my eyes. Because this year the pressure is harder on the next generation, because in 2019 they took some closer steps to this big three, and this year they have tremendous pressure because everybody is talking about Medvedev, Tsitsipas, Thiem. These guys are the 3 ones that's gonna win a Grand Slam first off, before everybody else on the tour, and there's a huge pressure for them. They are mentally tough guys, but can they overcome the big three? That's the thing, because these big three, they are monsters. They are prepared. They want to win everything they can win, especially the Grand Slams. Take a player like Novak. He's chasing Nadal and Djokovic. Nadal and Federer. Nadal is chasing Roger Federer, and Federer tried to keep these two guys off him, even though he has won a Grand Slam in 2 years. He's, in my opinion, a little bit of outsider in this tournament because everybody's talking about Djokovic and Nadal. We will see. I'm going to go into the draw, and I have my top 8 players that I think are going to reach the quarterfinals. And from the first, I'm going to go with the least 4 players that I think is going to win, that are going to reach the semifinals. And the first one I think of is Fabio Fognini, because this is a long shot, a very, very, very long shot. And I will probably gonna eat up my words. And Fabio Fognini is a guy that you don't know where he got him, because he has flair, he got speed, he got movement, he got shot making, he's a magician, he got everything. But the problem is his mind, his focus, his dedication. He's a little bit of a nut, and he has a difficult draw in my opinion also. But if Fabio Fognini, who I rank at the 8th place of the quarterfinals, reaches there, his returns must work, because in the first round he's meeting Railo Opelka, a serve boot. Probably in the second round he will meet Bublik, who he also is a superb server. In the third round, I think he's gonna meet Guido Pella from Argentina, a lefty that is tricky with good shot making. He can put Fognini out of balance. And in the fourth round, I think he will meet his fellow countryman Matteo Berrettini. Those are his first four matches, and Berrettini, we all know, he's a superb server. He has a great forehand, but otherwise than that, he's limited. He has nothing solid. Has an okay, decent backhand with too much slice on it. If he has a good day, he will get through, because he has an easy draw until he meets Fognini. I'm not sure about Fognini. This is just a long shot. I just want to go off the stream and pick something, because this maybe is one of his last chances to create something. I know that Fognini is a clay court specialist, has beaten Nadal many times, and as a hardcourt player he's decent. But this time I think if he can return these big serves good, which I'm not so sure about, because he's not a superb returner, I think that something inside me tell me that Fognini perhaps can reach the quarters, perhaps. Otherwise it will be Berrettini, because he has a good draw, and he will reach the fourth round for sure. All right, on my number 7 place, I have Dominic Thiem, the Austrian Terminator, the guy that has taken great steps last year. He reached the finals of both French Open and the ATP Naito finals. I think he won 5 titles last year. He played toe-to-toe with Rafa on clay. He defeated him. He made a good match at the French Open final. He kept up the level for 3 sets. After that, Rafa took over, as we all know. And he has improved his game. His return is getting better. His serve is getting better. He has long swing in his ground strokes. That will give him trouble, I think. I only have Dominic Thiem in a potential quarterfinal just because of his draw, because he's meeting Manarino from France in the first round, and in the second round I think he will beat Ramos Vinolas, a guy that he should beat, and in the third round he has his first tricky test. Maybe he will have the American Taylor Fritz or Kevin Anderson. We don't know what kind of status Kevin Anderson is, but if he starts good in this tournament, he has a huge serve that he can rely on and a good forehand. He can cause damage against Thiem. We never know that. And in the fourth round, he has potential player like Gael Monfils, who is ranked at number 10 currently. He always starts the years tremendously good and fades away and disappears in the second quarter of the calendar year. We have seen that many times when Gael Monfils play, but last year he played a little bit more consistent than before. But I don't have any high hopes. He can disappear in the early rounds also, but if he goes to the fourth round, he can give Dominic Thiem a match for sure. I'm not. I don't doubt that. Or maybe Aliassime will reach there also. We don't know his status too. He's still young. He has not played good the late couple of months, but I have hopes from him in the future. Not in this tournament, but he can prove me wrong. I will see young talent that make good results. I will be very happy if I can see him there in the fourth round or in the quarter. So on the eighth place, Fonini. On the seventh place, I have Team. On my sixth place, I have Andrei Rublev. Andrei Rublev, who recently won in Doha. He's playing now against Aliassime in Auckland, I think. He's on his way to win that match, and he will reach his second consecutive final this year. He will be a huge threat in Australian Open because he has a great draw, in my opinion, in the first two rounds. He will face an Australian guy named Donald, and in the second round, Sugita, and perhaps, maybe, Goffin in the third, and Alexander Zverev in the fourth round. Those two guys he can defeat with his aggressive baseline game, because he has a huge baseline game with a great forehand. He's very intensive on the court, and his backhand is very consistent and dangerous. But the problem with Rublev is he's hyper aggressive, and when he's hyper aggressive, you can count his unforced error. The numbers are high, especially in Grand Slams, and he makes too much double faults on his serve. That's his obstacle. But if he has played like earlier this year and the late 2019, he will for sure have a chance against David Goffin, and definitely against Alexander Zverev, a guy that I don't have high hopes for recently. And the same thing was the last year. He's too inconsistent. He doesn't have the right mindset. He has a huge first serve. We saw what he can accomplish when he beat Rafael Nadal at the night or round robin match, but it takes more, because this guy is an expert of getting himself into trouble, because he stays so far behind the baseline, and most of his early round matches in Grand Slams are going to 4-5 sets. He uses unnecessary energy. He put unnecessary energy to win those matches, and the further you go into the tournament, his power stains, and then he started to lose matches. Just see the match in the US Open. I think he lost to Schwartzman. It is a perfect example of how Alexander Zverev done. And of course, his second serve, catastrophical. How many double faults can a player make in a match? Not more than Zverev. If you look at the current top players, it's him or Rublev, or a couple other guys. But anyway, Rublev is on my sixth place, and on my number 5 place, I have Roberto Bautista Agut. He's a solid counter-puncher who moves quickly on court and thrives when he plays defensively. He has a flat, hard-hitting forehand that create and cause damages to his opponents. And his first and second serve are super solid. He has reached deep in every Grand Slam. I think he has won semi-final at Wimbledon last year and a quarter in Australian Open, where he lost to Stefanos Tsitsipas. He has played good in the ATP Cup. He didn't lose a set. He played superbly there. He has started to get his mojo. He plays also good early in the early stages of the year, and he's a superb hardcourt player. I will give him the edge. If you look at his draw, this is also a thing that I go with the feeling in my guts, because his first round matches are Feliciano Lopez in the first round, and in the second round I think he's gonna meet the qualifier, or a guy from Taipei. I can't pronounce his name, unfortunately. And in a potential third round, you have to face Benoit Paire, who has played good in this down under swing, and Marin Cilic, if he can find his mojo again, if he can start over again after this catastrophic 2019 season. You never know. And in the fourth round, this is a a little mini blockbuster. RBA against Stefanos Tsitsipas, the multi-hyped talented guy from Greece, a player that I love watching. He reminds me of Roger Federer. He's only 21 years. He's young. He's calm. He has great forehand, great serve, great backhand, great shot making. He has great stamina. He has great focus. He reminds me of a master. But something tells me that the solidness that RBS put up this year, and maybe after the victory, we have seen many of the players like Dimitrov and now Zverev in the year after, and now Tsitsipas in the ATP finals. When they win the ATP finals, it's like a curse. They don't start out well in the next year, in the beginning of the next year. I'm not saying that Tsitsipas is not a better player than those guys. He's a much better, much more talented, much more solid than those guys. But something tells me that RBA is gonna take the one of the spots in the quarterfinals. That's just my preview. I will probably eat up my words. I have two guys that stands out in my top 8, and that's Fonini and that's RBA. Otherwise, I'm pretty confident. But these two guys, it could go either way. I will not be devastated if Tsitsipas goes. He's a future of tennis. I love his game. If he goes to the quarter, I hope he will win the tournament, actually. But that's just my gut, my feeling. I can be wrong. I've been wrong many times. And it's harder to predict right than wrong, as you all know. All right. And then we have the top 4, my top 4 candidates. My number 4 candidate is Daniil Medvedev, the hard-hitting ball machine from Russia, who barely does a terrible match, who barely misses, who is almost untouchable when he plays from the baseline. This guy has ice in his veins and fire in his heart. He's a superb striking ball machine that can outlast anybody. Just watch his matches from last year, the American swing and Asian swing. He was the most consistent and the best guy, even though Rafa won the biggest titles. He did a superb US Open final where he almost won over Rafael Nadal. He took him to 5 sets. And I have high expectation of Daniil Medvedev, but all those matches that he played last year, will it affect him this year? Is he going to be tired? Is he going to drop in level? We don't know that yet. I hope not, but he's too good of a player not to reach the quarterfinals at least. He has Francis Tiafoe in the first match, who qualified in the second, and probably Wilfred Tsonga in the third round, and Stan, the man, Wawrinka in the fourth round, which is a tricky test. If Wawrinka reaches there, we know that he's warmed up. He hit those winners. His backhand is working, his forehand is working, his movement perhaps is working, his serve is okay. But a guy like Wawrinka does too many unforced error, and Medvedev, who is a solid baseliner, will use that advantage. But it's in 60-40 favor to Daniil Medvedev for him to reach the quarter. And on my number 3rd place, I will actually have him as number 2, but he can only meet Novak Djokovic in the semifinals and not in the final. So I have to put Roger Federer up as number 3. And why? Because basically I don't trust his level anymore. He's not consistent as before, even though he has an okay year last year, not a superb. That Wimbledon loss hurt his legacy. But Roger Federer, when it comes to Grand Slam, we know his shape, he's focused, he can rely on his serve, he will chip charge, he will play ultra aggressive first strike tennis as he has always done. He's not going to change anything in his game, maybe. I don't know if he has worked on small things, maybe adjustments, I don't know that. But for Roger to win, his forehand must work. He must do less unforced error. He must convert his break points, one of the key moments for his success if you want to succeed. We saw last year against Tsitsipas, he converted only, I think, 1 or 0 of 11-12 break points, and his returns. He has to stop slicing too much. It depends on the player, of course. Slice works against Novak. it doesn't work against Nadal. He has to variate his return game, not too much slice. Otherwise, I don't have anything to say. He's a little bit of underdog. Maybe this is one of his last chances. This hyper fast surface suits Roger Federer like the hand in the glove. So Roger will for sure perform in this tournament. It's not like he barely does terrible Grand Slams in the first rounds. We all know that. He doesn't always play 100% in this, but he managed to get through. And what do Roger have in his way to a quarterfinal? He will play against first round Steve Johnson from America. In the second round, perhaps, in my opinion, I think Filip Krajinovic will be on the other side of the net. In the third round, maybe his first little tricky opponent, it's either Jon Millman or the Hurkacz, the Polish guy. I think it's Polish. And in the fourth round, he will face probably one of Dimitrov, Shapovalov, and why not Jannik Sinner? He can also reach the fourth round. I don't know. I don't trust in Shapovalov's level. I don't trust, definitely don't trust Dimitrov, even if he has done good results in Australian Open. He reached the semi-final in 2017. He beat Roger at the US Open, but Roger not a superb match. So I'm not gonna take anything away from Dimitrov. If he wakes up on the right side of the bed, he will probably reach the fourth round. All right, on my second place, Rafael Nadal, the most consistent guy, the guy that barely gives away a point, the best point-by-point player, the all-time Grinch. He doesn't do many unforced errors in his matches. He doesn't give away opportunities to his opponents like Federer can do, and sometimes Novak. But Rafael Nadal will have to play more economical, stay close to the baseline, not so far back, and he has to hit more winners that he has started to do, less shot tolerance. He has to execute the points faster and benefit more from his forehand. Like he does it, of course. He's superb on that section, but try to keep the balls shorter, the rally shorter. He has started to do that. We saw that last year, and otherwise anything can happen. In the first one, he's meeting a Bolivian guy, Hugo Delian, a guy that gonna eat for breakfast, and in the second round he will probably meet one of João Sousa or Del Bonis. He will eat them for snacks. In the third round, he will meet Pablo Carreño Busta or a qualifier that he should eat for after dinner snacks. And in the fourth round, his first tricky match, some say it's Nick Kyrgios. I would be very happy if Kyrgios can reach that fourth match, but I think that it's better for him to meet Kyrgios earlier, because as long as the tournaments go, we know the inconsistency of Nick Kyrgios. He will get tired. He will come up with something bad. I don't trust his level, and I definitely don't trust his mindset or what he is up to, because he's always fighting with his demons in his mind, and you never know what this guy is capable of doing. He can, of course, take the racket out of Rafael Nadal's hand because he has the shot-making skills. He has ace in his pocket, a super forehand. But this guy, and a shot-making that will make most of the professional envy. But he overheats. His return are not good, and his focus and mindset are not like a professional top tennis player, in my opinion. So of course, he can cause damage. It depends how it goes in the first three rounds. But if he meets Rafa, it will motivate him and put some more fuel in the fire, because they have a little bit feud that they had. But Rafa is professional. He will take care of him. I don't doubt that. And my number one favorite, of course, is the supreme Novak Djokovic. What can you say about him? What can he do to win this tournament? Play like he did at ATP Cup. Take the ball on the rise. His backhand was superb. His movement, as we all know, is the greatest mover. He shrinks the court. He has a best backhand business. He has great first and second serve. He has a mindset out of this world. He has a determination out of this world. Djokovic, he can't lose to next gen players, but when he meets Rafa Roger, he rises level 1, 2, 3, 4 bars. He haven't lost the final in Australian Open. He has 7 victories in 7 attempts. He's trying to grab his 8th bid for his 8th title. So it's not many things that talks against Novak Djokovic, to be honest. He's the most solid, most consistent baseline on these fast hard courts nowadays. Before him it was Federer, now it's him. I don't see him lose. But he has a tricky opponent in the semifinal, and we all know that it's Roger Federer. But before Roger Federer, he has Jan-Lennart Struff in his opening match, a guy that plays exactly like Matteo Berrettini. Huge serve, huge forehand. Otherwise, he has nothing to offer Novak Djokovic, and Novak will eat him alive. In the second round, you have a Japanese, I think, or a qualifier in the second round. In the third round, I think he will meet Evans from United Kingdom. A tricky opponent, but nothing that, not the play that's gonna cause damage for Novak Djokovic. And in the potential fourth round, I think he will meet Diego Schwartzman, a guy that he will have great duels with. I don't know how many times they have played against each other, but he will take care of him also, and then reach the quarters. And I'm going to go into the quarters. That means that Novak Djokovic is going to meet RBA in one of the quarters. I would think that he will have a solid baseline duel, a battle, but he has 8-3 against RBA. RBA beat him twice last year. He has beaten him 3 times. All of them came on hard court. So he maybe can take 1 set from Novak. And Roger Federer will meet, in my prediction here, Fabio Fognini, a guy that he has 4-0 against, a test that he should pass. I think that everything Fognini does, he does much better, Federer. So he will book his place in the semifinal against Djokovic. And the Russian meeting in the third quarterfinal between Rublev and Medvedev. Medvedev have met him twice. They met twice. Rublev have lost both of them. Nothing says that he can beat Medvedev, but I don't think that. And I think that Medvedev will go through in 3 straight sets against his Russian companion, his comrade, like they say. And in the fourth semifinal, we have Nadal against Dominic Thiem. A superb rivalry. 13 matches, 9 in victory for Nadal. Thiem's only 4 victories has come on clay. They played one of the best matches in 2018 at the US Open hard court. He has never beaten Rafa on hard court, but Dominic Thiem has started to play much better on hard court. But this is fast hard courts. His swing against Nadal's superb, consistent baseline game will give the advantage to Nadal. I think that Nadal will win this match and reach the semifinal against Daniil Medvedev. In that match, we have a rerun of the US Open final. That match can, in my opinion, to be honest, if that Medvedev played goods from the beginning, that match could end either way, to be honest, if Medvedev plays like he did in the US Open. But I think that Rafa is on his chase to win his second Australian Open. He will be the first player in the Open era of history to win all the Grand Slam twice. He has that aim. He has the aim and goal to reach 20 and equal Roger Federer's Grand Slam record also. That motivates Nadal more than what Medvedev can do. So Nadal will win that match. And in the semifinal between Djokovic and Federer, Djokovic is the huge favorite here due to his mental edge, due to his consistency on hard courts, and the way that he has beaten Roger plenty of times at the Grand Slam. Roger hasn't been victorious against him since the Wimbledon 2012, so nothing says that Roger can win. But He will change. He will take maybe he can take revenge from the loss in the Wimbledon. Maybe his ultra aggressive tennis is one of the ways to beat Novak Djokovic. You have to take time, like he did at the ATP Naito round robin match. But Grand Slam is another task. As you all know, it's much bigger and much tougher. That's Roger Federer's only chance to win, to do a match similar to the one in the ATP Naito finals. Serve superb and do less unforced errors and put Novak out of his comfort zone, chip and charge, get him out of his rhythm. Then he can win that match. But I give the edge to Novak Djokovic. And if everything goes as I predicted, Novak will meet Nadal. And we all know the beat up from last year, the marathon match from 2012 between these guys in the AO final, which was the most demanding performance I've seen two players do. I will give Novak Djokovic the edge if Rafa doesn't come closer to the baseline and attack more and is more aggressive against Novak. Otherwise, Novak will win that match. No doubt about it. Novak is a mental beast. He holds his serve so good. He doesn't give away free games. Nadal doesn't do that either. So it will be a battle from the baseline, and the most short tolerant man will win. And right now, that's Novak Djokovic. I hold him as the number one and the winner of Australian Open finals. And I have some dark horses and two dark donkeys, just to make this a little bit fun. I have Wawrinka, one of the dark horses. If he hits flat with his backhand and in that beast mode, he will advance and be a terrible matchup for anybody. And the young Greek Stefanos Tsitsipas also. My mind said I should have put them in the quarter, but now I chose RBA and I have to live with my pick. But I'm not surprised if Tsitsipas reaches the quarterfinal or maybe the semifinal. He's such a good of a player, but can he beat RBA and then Novak? We will see. He's one of my dark horses, and the other one is, of course, David Goffin, the magician, Belgian wizard, the magician, who is baseline oriented. He's an offensive baseliner with creative and accurate shot making and powerful ground strokes. His backhand is one of the best, his best assets, and he can reach deep if everything works for him. He's a poor man's Djokovic, because he takes the ball on the rise like Federer, like Djokovic, but he's not that good enough. We have Matteo Berrettini as a dark horse also. If his serve and forehand works, he can reach the semifinals again. Maybe not semifinals, but the quarters. It depends. He has a good draw. Why not? And then I have Alexander Zverev as a dark horse. Believe me or not, he's a dark horse. If he can come through his first rounds, he will be meeting I think he will meet Rublev in the fourth round. If he can get past him, he has accomplished more than he deserved, in my opinion. And then we have the two dark donkeys, in my opinion. That's Nick Kyrgios. If he on right mood, if he gets past Rafael Nadal, everything can happen. And the other dark donkey is Gael Monfils. If he can get past him, he has reached a superb result also, in my opinion, and he will beat Nadal. It will be a superb matchup, but we never know with Monfils or Kyrgios. I don't trust their level. That's why I call them dark donkeys. Nothing bad against them. I like that they're entertaining and solid players, but Wawrinka, Tsitsipas, Goffin, Berrettini, and Monfils and Kyrgios. Those are the dark horses / dark donkeys. Alright, my friends, thanks for watching my Australian Open preview. Take care and bye-bye.